Okay, I just thought I'd share the track design I've got in mind with everyone to get some sort of feedback or input or ideas. This is a very rough design I came up with, and I'm sure it's going to be a little bit different once I get down to drawing on the wood. So here you've got start-finish line. I contemplated making that one big loop around there and having a hairpin in the middle. That'll take up too much space, so I think I'll just go with the double loops at the end of the bridge there, the underpass there. So it's not going to matter losing the line of sight of the car, because you'll be at pretty high speed there, so there's no braking zones. And they're not going to be straight. So it's like the Queensland hairpin, pretty much. It just goes like that, like a U shape with a few S's and whatnot. So it will probably end up pretty different to what this picture looks like. I'd imagine these two will have to be closer together, so that loop will be a little bit bigger than what it is there, because the space is limited that way. I think I've got 2.2 metres to work with, giving me space to move around the track on both sides. This is going to be a relatively digital heavy track, so I've got provisions there for a lane brain to operate lane changes there, maybe a complicated one there, so like a race line, outside line will come to the inside lane and maybe back out to the outside lane, or not sure how it's going to work yet, but the big thing will be the pit lane, digital pit lane. So you'll come in here, there'll be a flipper there. Now I'm thinking of putting a flipper there for the safety car, because the safety car has nearly been completed as part of the next RMS update, I'm told. So when you push the space bar, yellow flag, the safety car will actually come out of pit lane. It'll drive around until such time that the safety car is deactivated, and it'll drive back into pits and park itself until it's needed again. So I'm not sure how it's going to work yet, but I'd like a dedicated lane or slot for it to rest in. So I thought if I make one behind the pits, it can come down here and stop somewhere here, then I'll come back out when it's needed. But until that happens, I'm not sure yet, so maybe that's just a little bit of a dream. But anyway, there'll be a flipper there, and if there's not one there, there'll be another one here, so you can either do a drive-through or you can go into pit bays. But I'm also contemplating getting some extra lane brains if I can find some, and having multiple slots or lanes into the bays. So I could probably get away with having 2 garages per lane, per flipper, but if there was going to be one for each one, I'd need 4 extra lane brains for 8 flippers, which is pretty complicated. It'll look pretty cool, but doable, maybe not, because that takes away the opportunity I'm going to have lane changes in other places. So this loop down here, very rough drawing, I'm not very good at doing circles, but the straight, after talking to Glenn Perrin, and his track is having no straights on his track, so I thought I'll have the straight as such, the long slight curve, just to keep it interesting. But once I start drawing on the wood, that's going to be when it really comes to life. So until then, I'm nearly ready to put the wood on the frame, table, but I'm just trying to tidy up a few things in the shed and get rid of some stuff I've had sitting there for far too long I'm never going to use, but I thought I would. You know how it is, you hide stuff under the track, and when you come time to actually having to move it or do something with it, there's all this stuff, you think, oh, what am I going to do with all that? Classic example is when I had my first track years ago, and when I had to move, I filled 2 skip bins worth of rubbish that I'd hidden under there for a rainy day that I thought I'd need. Anyway, so that's the track plan. If you've got any thought or input, love to hear it. Yeah, bear in mind, it's going to be a digital analog track, so the pit lane will be digital only, but analog will be just a 3 lane. So I'm looking at 95mm spacing on the lanes. 90mm is good for 124 cars. We have raced them. Glen's track is 90mm lane spacings, and you can race them on that, but it's very tight. So if I figured if I go 5mm extra, that's going to give me a little bit more room to move, because I think 100mm spacings on a 30-second scale track, that works, but just it looks a little bit lost to me. Takes up a lot more room too. Anyway, just my thoughts. Love to hear yours. Thanks for watching. Cheers.